Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the People's House, as I sit in District 12's seat here on the House floor, I picture the people back at Louisiana Tech University and Grambling State and the two rural health care facilities that are counting on us to do something. Many of you don't feel like there's an urgency to acting now. I disagree with that position. But in thinking about those folks right now in Union General Hospital and Reeves Memorial in Bernice, I'm going to read you just what the Rural Hospital Coalition has told me. On behalf of the Louisiana Rural Hospital Coalition, which represents 48 rural hospitals all over this state, we urge the Louisiana House of Representatives to put partisan differences aside to address the impending fiscal cliff that threatens to implode the state of Louisiana's budget for the next state's fiscal year. The failure to act and act now will have disastrous consequences for health care and higher education in our state. Our state's rural hospitals, one of which helped an older friend of mine stay alive about 10 more years with a good quality of life. These rural hospitals are vital to the areas of the state which I represent. He could not have made it to Monroe or Ruston or Shreveport. He would have died en route. We have much to lose if a solution to this fiscal crisis is not resolved expeditiously. Rural hospitals in Louisiana depend for their very existence on supplemental Medicaid payments that the legislature has appropriated in years past in accordance with the Rural Hospital Preservation Act. A recent national survey of financing of rural hospitals found that even with these supplemental Medicaid payments, the average median operating profit margin for rural hospitals in Louisiana is a negative 2.2%. In fact, about 2/3 of Louisiana rural hospitals operate with a negative margin. I'm almost finished. If this fiscal crisis is not resolved, the $12.6 million in state general funds that the legislature has appropriated to rural hospitals will almost certainly be reduced or even eliminated. When matching federal funds are factored in this, it would represent a cut of over $34 million, or about 30% of the supplemental Medicaid funding allocated to our rurals. Our rural hospitals cannot sustain a cut of this magnitude, and some will be forced to close their doors. Imagine the negative impact both in terms of health care access and economic development if this were to happen. Again, we urge you to put aside your differences and work together to resolve this fiscal crisis. The future of our rural hospitals depend on it, and so many other people. This isn't about just math down here. Yeah, it is when we get down to the number crunching. This is about faces of people in your district. We're going to have universities not knowing whether they can retain professors, hire new ones. How are they going to operate their fiscal ship on July 1st? And the reason I'm pointing all this out is, depending on the vote on House Bill 8, the whole thing could come tumbling down around us like the walls of Jericho. Because I've heard House Bill 8 with the amendment, well, I'm not going to vote for 23. If 8 gets the amendments, or without the amendment, I'm not going to do this. Come on, people. Lay it aside. I told you the other night, this isn't a Republican or Democratic issue. What do you think is best for this state and her people? Matthew 25:40 says, I tell you, that which you have done unto the least of these, my brethren, you have done unto me. Who's their lobbyist? They're not out here in the back hall. The people who can't afford lobbyists, you're their lobbyist. You're their voice. Use it. And let us get off of this high center that we have been on now for 2 years plus. Louisiana first. I hope you join me. Thank you.